Toronto's housing market is at a crossroads. Sales are down, prices are slipping, and inventory is swelling. The latest TRREB Market Watch report for April 2025 paints a picture of a market in flux, where buyers are cautious and sellers are adjusting expectations. If you're new here, my name is Harkirat Singh, broker with Harmony Real Estate Group. I help buyers and sellers move smoothly and seamlessly across the GTA. Each month, I break down the latest stats and market report about Toronto real estate and the GTA. The purpose behind these videos is to provide educational and insightful content so that you as a consumer can make better informed decisions when navigating the Toronto real estate market. If you get any value out of this type of content, make sure to like and hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions or would like to work with our team, you can book a call by clicking on the first link in the description below. The April 2025 year-over-year summary shows a clear cooling in the GTA housing market. Sales dropped 23.3% from 7,302 sales to 5,601 sales, reflecting reduced buyer activity, while new listings rose 8.1% and active listings surged 54%, indicating a growing supply-demand imbalance. The average home price declined 4.1% to $1,107,000, and homes are taking longer to sell, with listing days up 31.6% and property days up 22.2%. Overall, the market continues to shift in favor of buyers, putting pressure on sellers to adjust pricing and expectation. In April of 2025, home sales declined across all major property types in the GTA, with total sales of detached homes down 21.7%, semi-detached down 10%, townhomes down 22.9%, and condos falling the most at 30.4% year over year. Detached homes averaged $1,431,000, down 5.4%, while semi-detached homes saw a 4.1% price drop to $1,088,000. Townhomes saw a modest 3.9% decline to $912,000, and condo apartments dropped a 6.8% to $678,000. The sales slowdown was more severe in the 9 to 5 regions, especially for detached and condo units, while Toronto showed more price resilience in some categories. Overall, the data reflects broad market softening with lower demand and falling prices across the board. Looking at this graph here with data provided by the Habitat, we can see that 2025 has had the slowest start to the year for sales in a while when looking back 10 years, with the exception of April 2020 due to COVID-19. Sales are down nearly 45% from the peak of March 2021. On the other hand, April has also started the year with a high number of active listings in the GTA, on par with years 2012 throughout 2015. Now we'll dive deeper into the freehold and condo market in the GTA and how this year compared to past trends. We'll also look at municipalities across the GTA. Starting with the sales of detached homes in the month of April, the first thing that stands out is that detached home sales in the GTA are their lowest level on record for the month of April, going back to the year 2000, with the exception of April 2020 due to COVID-19. We only saw 2,556 sales, down 20% over last year, indicating a slow market for detached homes. A lot of buyers are still hesitant to make a move given higher interest rates, job uncertainty, and just a slow economy overall. Looking at the volume of new listings, they're up slightly compared to last year and are in line with a healthy market, but active listings is higher compared to inventory available last year. Looking at this chart, the number of detached homes available for sale across the GTA is 1.5 times of what was available last year. We're currently sitting at 11,000 listings compared to 7,000 last year. Compared to historical trends, it is lower than years like 2010 post-GFC and slightly higher than 2018 and 2019, which were correcting markets. Overall, listings are well available in the market for detached homes. This has driven up months of inventory, currently sitting at 4.45 months of inventory, slightly down from last month, which is a good indicator of a buyer's market. Lastly, the median sale price for detached homes across the GTA has been flat, heading downwards. It appears we did not have much of a so-called spring market this spring, as buyers are still very hesitant. A great indicator of this correction we are experiencing is that prices did not rebound as much as they did in the spring markets of 2023 and 2024. Moving on to the condo segment of the GTA, sales are down 29% year over year, similar to levels during 2000 and 2001, even lower than the GFC. Besides the drop observed in April of 2020, sales for condos are at all-time lows. New listings are surprisingly lower than all-time highs of April 2024, just by 1% however. Active listings are at all-time highs for condos. Inventory has not been available like this for years. With the difference in price between freehold and condos getting smaller, more people are opting for freehold properties, including investors that are offloading their cash flow negative condos. There are 9,400 condos for sale, out of which 39% are owner occupied, 15% are tenanted, and 46% are vacant. Coming to our next point, which is months of inventory. We have reached all-time highs since 2010, with months of inventory sitting at 6.56 months. This places us well into a buyer's market for condo apartments across the GTA. Looking at the median sale price for condos, they're up about 9% from COVID lows and down 20% from the peak of 2022. 1,476 condos sold in the month of April across the GTA, out of which 81% sold under the listing price. Prices have started falling and may continue to do so as we enter a recession. Next comes the home sales trend for the last 25 years. We can look at the average monthly sales as the black line, median monthly sales as the orange line, and 2025 sales as the light blue line. Both average and median sales are in line with one another, while the 2025 sales line is nowhere close to the average or the median. We're sitting at 5,600 sales for April, while the seasonal norm is somewhere closer to 9,000 sales. This pretty much means the spring market never really came, as we typically see sales pick up closer to May. New listings are slightly above seasonal trends, sitting around 19,000 listings, while the seasonal norm is closer to 16,000 listings. We're about 23% higher than what is expected in April. This is the trend line that we typically want to look at. Active listings across the GTA are sitting at 27,000 and surging, 50% higher than what is expected in April. Looking at this bar chart of active inventory levels in the GTA going back to the year 2000, we can see that active inventory has reached all-time highs not witnessed in the last 25 years. This is a 54% jump in inventory levels since last year. Mostly condos are contributing to this number. When split between freehold and condo sales across the GTA, we can see both segments decline year over year since the peak, with the only exception being April of 2020 due to COVID-19. Sales have not been this slow since the early 2000s. The next trend to look at deeply is home sales as a percentage of new listing. Typically, the lower the number is, the closer we are to a buyer's market. The higher the number is, the closer we are to a seller's market. A balanced market is typically in between 40 to 60%. Looking at this trend line, we typically go from balanced market territory to seller's market territory. However, based on the 2025 trend line, we are further pushing into a buyer's market. Breaking down stats based on region and municipality, we'll be looking at the change of active listings and home sales year over year across the GTA. By looking at the change in active listings, we can see that Durham had the lowest change in active listings, sitting at 38%, followed by Halton at 51%, York at 52%, Peel at 56%, and surprisingly last, Toronto at 61%. Looking at the change in home sales year over year by percentage, we can see that Halton had the largest slowdown, with sales dropping 51% year over year, followed by York at 42%, Peel at 30%, Durham at 23%, and lastly Toronto at 22%. Compared to other segments, Toronto has had a well-performing market. All of these stats reported can be found on TRREB's Market Watch or the Habitat. April 2025 saw Toronto's housing market continue to cool, with sales dropping sharply and inventory levels reaching multi-decade highs. Detached home sales hit their lowest April level since 2000, excluding April 2020, with just 2,556 units sold, down 22% year over year. Condo sales fell even more steeply, down 30%, are now at historic lows not seen since the early 2000s. While new listings remained steady, active listings surged, especially in the condo segment, pushing months of inventory to 6.56 months for condos and 4.45 months for detached homes, firmly marking a buyer's market. Prices across all home types declined modestly, and 81% of condos sold below asking. With buyers hesitant due to high rates and economic uncertainty, the GTA spring market failed to materialize, and pressure continues to mount on sellers in both freehold and condo sectors. If you found this video useful, make sure to like and hit the subscribe button. I plan on breaking down these stats monthly if this type of content interests you and you would like to know more about what is going on with Toronto and GTA real estate. If you have any questions about the market, feel free to book a call with me by clicking on the first link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.